So for this part, I'm only gonna be using two kinds of brown, and we have the mahogany and chocolate. I'm gonna start with the mahogany, which is the lighter shade, and just go over the bottom here first. Kind of follow the shape of the ellipse. Might want to have some highlight right there, or maybe not. So when you're sketching wood, it's kind of difficult because you have all these I don't know what it's called in English, but the randomness of the lines inside of the wood can be tricky sometimes to get right, but I just like to wing it and just, you know, have fun with it and try to get it right, because we're gonna add some what's it called, white pencil to this later, and that will make it so we have another layer of shading when we do this. And I'm using the chocolate brown here more at the bottom because it's in the shaded part. So as I go up here, I'm gonna do less and less of these lines. Something like that. That's a good start. Then we're gonna go in and render these things. The best way to learn this type of sketching is, or any sketching for that matter, is always to have a reference point. So you can Google different types of wood textures and then try to copy the pattern and the texture that they have and just fill up a couple of sheets of paper like that. And that is definitely the single best way of learning how to sketch something new that you haven't sketched before. It's always to just look at reference pictures and try to get it right that way. There's really no rules to this. I mean, it's so random that you can... There are a few kind of ways, depending on what kind of wood you're sketching, that the fibers go in different directions, in certain direction when it comes to depending on what type of wood you're sketching. But again, that's all up to reference pictures and learn that way how different types of wood behave and how the fibers kind of go. So what I'm gonna do now is to add some white pencil to this, because this is gonna make a big difference. Wood usually is not very glossy, so I might actually add some white ink highlights to this. I'm gonna see, but for the most part I'm just gonna be using a white pencil, and the reason for that is because I don't want the super high glossy areas, because it's wood. If it's not been treated with some some aftermarket or whatever you want to call it solution, then usually wood is not very glossy. So we're gonna start by adding some white pencil to this, and I'm doing this, I'm thinking about the light source at all times on all of these surfaces. So what kind of surfaces are facing up, and how is the light hitting those surfaces? So These are kind of wavy wood. It's not very flat. I want to have some texture to it, so we have some points sticking up, and those points and edges are going to hit the light that's coming from the top, obviously, and that's where we want to put this white pencil. And of course, the further down you go, the less of the white, the less of the light is going to hit the top parts of this of these creases and edges, because it's an ellipsoid, so it goes down like this, and pretty much around here or in the middle part of this, that's where I'm gonna stop doing these highlights. And instead, later on, I'm gonna come back with a big pen and fill in some black shading instead. Maybe we can have one more down here, like that. I might actually add some, just for fun, just because I love it. This white ink, we can add it where the light is definitely going to hit the hardest, which is probably here somewhere. You can add some reflection right there, and maybe down here. Why not? Probably if it's down there, then it should be up here as well, because this is higher up. I think that's enough. I think that's good. That's good for more for the wood texture. We went a bit too low here, but that's not a big deal. I'm gonna add some black to this. We're gonna fix that later on. And now we're gonna move on to the final type of material, which is going to be rubber, and that means we're pretty much gonna use I would say black, of course, and grays from maybe 6 to 10. So that's what we're gonna do now.